Painting is an art that it is a 2D art. Sculpture is a 3D art, but you cannot enter in it. Architecture is the only applied art to the human life you can experiment through your body, visiting, immersing yourself into this kind of art.
It's not so clear at the beginning, and it's not like an explosion of saying, oh wow, now everything is different. No, it's not. You feel the same. But in the end, something is changing.
My primary expectation coming to Rome specifically as compared to other study abroad places that I looked at was that I would be getting a markedly different educational experience.
Why is it so important for students to study abroad?
I think it's very important for their personal and professional growth. And I think also they can discover new identities about themselves. While when you're in your family, you're always told, you're like that, or this is what you are, and these are your talents. While you're abroad, you can discover something completely new characteristics about yourselves.
Learn that history and time are much longer and denser and thicker than what we ever imagined in the United States.
What was your first impression going through Rome?
It's old. So a lot of these buildings, man, they're some of the oldest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Knowing the history of a city is very important. Rome is one of the cities that has some of the deepest history because of how layered it is and how things have changed so dramatically over the centuries, and how in some places you can physically see centuries of layers on top of each other.
How important is history?
You can't avoid this stuff. I mean, you have physical, history presents you with physical obstacles as well as opportunities. But I think everywhere you are, it presents you with opportunities.
Yeah, we have a lot of students which it's the first time they live in a big city. We have even some students which haven't been to that many museums or exhibitions before.
You have to be ready to adapt to their country.
I didn't necessarily understand how much of a city Rome is.
They should learn something about Italian and especially Roman culture. They should learn how to eat and how to order coffee.
Sort of understanding how people in different parts of the world live their daily lives, and how the way that we do things in America just seems very normal, like the way that things should be, but then you go somewhere else and it's like, oh, it doesn't have to be that way.
They should learn that architecture is thought about and taught and practiced differently in different places, depending on context and culture.
The studio culture I felt was a lot looser. At the same time, you're developing more conceptual ideas rather than necessarily rigorous detailed aspects of a building, and you're more operating on the urban scale than you are enamored with your own building shape and design.
What was different about the studio culture?
I would say, first, it feels a lot healthier to me. There was a greater emphasis from day one on we expect you to put in your hours when you're here, but when those hours are not required, get out and go experience the city because you're studying abroad. It was made clear very early on this was a much more wide lens we used to approach architecture.
Yes, there's a different and coherent way of teaching by the new team, which is going to, I think, give the students a more authentic experience of what Rome is and what architecture is in Rome today.
So the idea is this: more than from me, learning from Rome.
You need to have some tools for the interpretation of a city like that.
With the team of design invented this idea of theory pills. So to have a theoretical lecture about historical elements of architecture, still useful up to date, and then after the discussion with the guest of the lecture, going on site to experiment with your body that architecture, that space. Having theoretical debates with the visit on site is a key approach to have a wow moment in your education process. Third tool is drawing class. To understand the quality of the space, to represent the quality of the space, vertical space, gathering space, horizontal space, tight and narrow space, and so on, you know? So it doesn't mean that, okay, we have to speak with our language in English, in Italian, but there's a grammar, there's a lexicon to be comfortable with the space, investigate the space, and be able to represent it immediately.
I thought that the most beautiful part of teaching a design course about Rome was really about transferring passion and enthusiasm about the special features of the city. What you learn here could be helpful to reread the next multi-layer city of tomorrow, no?
I think that the main goal is this one, to learn how to look at the things and to learn how to be, in a way, you know, not curious about the results, but maybe curious about how do you get to the results. The approach as a critic, for me, it's very important. If you don't ask because you're curious to know, you will never do that. You will never know things.
Come with an open mind, first advice.
It's the same advice that I gave you the first day, so be curious. Just want to hang around the city and walk by and ask things.
Come completely open-minded. To be very open to get surprised.
Whatever it is, good, bad, or indifferent, Rome is going to draw it out of you because you're in a totally new environment and it tends to be transformative.
When you study abroad, it's an opportunity to go explore Europe and see new things and experience things that you'll not experience anywhere else.
Whatever preconceived notions you have about any foreign culture or place that you're going to, be that a different country or not, if you come into those with those calcified enough, you're gonna be wrong.
It's really about not what you can get to design in 4 months, but it's more like what stays.
Maybe 1 year after you came back home, or maybe 2 years, you will find out and say, oh wow, but I'm really a more open-minded person than I was before.
I see the students when they arrive, and I see them at the end when they leave, and I can tell a huge difference, that they become much more independent, much more self-secure.
Be prepared to be humbled by being.
You have the biggest opportunity to become bridges from an American culture to a European culture here in Rome.